A very good afternoon to all the viewers out there. My name is Heng Yu Ken, and today I am going to present my final year project, which is the virtual reality role playing game, or in short, VR RPG, with the project code GM19204. Without further ado, allow me to proceed with the background of the project. So, what is virtual reality? Virtual reality, or VR, is an artificial 3D computer created interpretation of the surroundings that allows people to immerse themselves in a completely new world different from the reality. So, the game that I have developed is called Kaja, which means let's go in Korean. I aim to bring upon the freshest experience yet to all the gamers out there with better interaction, better sense of agency, and better gameplay so that the gamers can indulge themselves in the character role as well as the storyline even better than any game that has existed before. And last but not least, I have integrated motion capture using lip motion, enable gesture control in the game. So here are the problem statements which leads me to develop this project. The first thing, the user experience. User experience is very important and it hinders mass VR adoption. For example, the current hand analogs do not meet with the finesse expectation. Next, most of the typical genre of games lack of the sense of agency as well as the lacking of realism. And last but not least, VR lacks of exposure in the public community, and which is why I developed this project in order to introduce VR to the public community in an easier and fun way. Hybrid control system is also introduced by using both controller and gesture recognition in RPG game in order to maximize the potential of the game. And last but not least, one of the wow factor in the project is that all the designs in terms of UI and programming code are designed by myself. Next, the system objectives of my project can be summarized into 4 objectives. The first is of course to create a virtual reality role-playing game with higher degree of freedom and better sense of agency. Next, my second objective is about designing a hybrid gesture controller gaming control system for the VR game to enhance the gaming experience in terms of realism and also the in-game controls. My third objective is to provide a more relaxing and fun environment for public community to learn about virtual reality instead of just words and advertisements. And last but not least, I aim to revolutionize the scope of storytelling experience in RPG games in digital age by having a complete 360-degree visual rendering through the implementation of VR technology. So, there are 4 modules in the project: the game exploration module, the game control module, 3D modeling module, and last but not least, game logic module. And each module contains their own sub-modules as listed on the left-hand side of the screen. Next, on the right-hand side, we can see the architecture of the project. It can be summarized into 3, which is the hardware setup, the system, and also the application layer. So, in order to run the game, we need HTC Vive or any other VR setup. And lip motion is also another requirement in order to perform the gesture recognition. As for the system, I'm using Windows operating system as well as using the executable file to run the program. And in the application layer, we have the VR player, and the player can use different functions: heal, player stat, equipment, inventory, or use item. Now, let us move on to the software tools and programming used during the development. I'm using Unity game engine for the most of the game development, and also I'm using Blender to do all the 3D modelings and animations for the game. I'm using Visual Studio Code to write the code, which is using the C# programming code. And last but not least, the HTC Vive and Lip Motion used for my development as well. Now, there are 3 implementations used in my project. The first is the finite state machine, which is used to implement in the game for artificial intelligence such as the monster behaviors and also the animations. For such, when the character gets close enough to the door will open automatically. Next is the scriptable objects. Scriptable objects is a type of data container used for preserving memory by saving large amount of data without duplicating the data. For example, the monster data. And last but not least, the 3D modeling. 3D modeling is the most essential element in the game because it indicates all the game objects in the game. I'm using Blender to develop 3D game objects such as the character, the buildings, the environments, etc. So for conclusion, VR still has lots of improvements which are worth for expectation in future. This is because we have many constraints such as the space limitation and also other factors that are unseen during the game. Now, hybrid control system is introduced to overcome this control lack of realism, but still it cannot overcome the space limitation problem. VR game development is fundamentally different from 2D and 3D games, with more aspects for consideration such as the head rotation, the UI placement, and so on, but the programming code is reusable. And last but not least, the motion integration in VR gives great result and good experience for development. Now, I'm going to move on to the demo of my game. So this is the actual game footage for my game, Kaja. So the player can use controller control movements in the game as well as using gestures to do interactions such as pressing the button or open menu by facing your palm towards your face. In the menu, we can see that there are stats, use item, equipment, and also assist. A simple UI is displayed on top of the view. Now, other interactions such as getting close into the NPC will open guides on top of the head of the NPC. You can see that there are messages included in the pane to learn about the game. Also, you can get close enough to the objects to pick up items such as the equipment as well as the used items. Now, in order to open the menu, we can just face our palm towards the face and press the button. Now, we can also proceed to the game to explore other items as well other than equipment. In order to equip the items to the players, you need to go to the equipment menu. Next, we can just select on the equipment. The basic information such as the name and description are displayed. By pressing the equip button, the items will straight away equip on the players. We use gestures to do actions. Now, once we equip the items, we can see that the stats are changed such as the HP as well as for the weapon section, the weapon is equipped. Now, we will proceed to equip the helmet as well. HP plus 10, defense plus 5. So once we press the equip button, we can see that the stats are updated instantly. From the previously 100 per 100 to 100 per 112. Now, in the game, there are not just equipments, there are used items as well. Used items are used to assist games throughout the game. For example, the potion can recover 50 HP in the game. So, same as equipment, we just press use and then we can see that our stats change. Press again the button to close the menu. And just now, we have equipped the weapons. So we use the controller to simulate the weapon and the buttons to launch the bullets. Getting close enough to the gates will teleport us to another world view. So now, here we can see that the HDRI are used as the sky, and all the models here that you are looking are drawn by myself. So now we can proceed to the storylines. You can see that there are monsters in front of you. So by using a specific gestures, we can cast skills. Also, we can shoot at the monsters to get experience. Once you get close enough to the monsters, the AI system will detect the player and the monsters will look at you and start chasing you. So now, we can use our weapons to shoot at the enemy, and once the enemy is dead, you can see that we gain a level from 1 to level 2. We can see the remaining of the experience points from the stat menu. Now, this sums up the overall functions available in my game.